All right, my friends, it's time for another Thinking Out Loud with Froggy. Today we're going to be discussing DLSS 4 and AMD's FSR4. Are these going to be the future of gaming? Do they actually warrant the higher prices that we are now paying for being asked to pay for GPUs? And now that I've had some time with both the 5070 Ti and the AMD 9070 XT, how do I think this generation is going to actually turn out? So with these little bit higher prices, and obviously we're seeing like the AIB prices going a little bit higher and stuff. So guys, I've never been big on upscalers. I never have. And there's no secret to that. I literally, have to deal with people all the time saying, oh man, now all of a sudden FSR and blah, blah, blah. Like it's so crazy that we even get to that point that nobody is allowed to ever change their mind. You must stick to a stance that you have or you are a flip-flopper. Well, guys, I'm not a flip-flopper. I just wasn't convinced. I'm definitely getting there. I'm definitely getting there. DLSS 4 and FSR 4 have both come out, and both of them are retaining that image quality that I perceive and that I like. Now you can say whatever you want. You can call me a flip-flopper. Whatever you want. Say whatever you want, like in the comment section. I don't. It really. Sometimes it bothers me. Sometimes it doesn't, because it's like if you're going to complain at the channel about me not caring about the things that you like, and then I start trying to care about them and incorporate them into the content and open my mind about things, and then you try to keep me back into that corner, that just doesn't make any sense to me. I am a firm believer in change. Always have been. Always have been. Like I am not one of them people to just get stuck somewhere and not open my mind and think about things. Now, it took me a few NVIDIA GPUs to get to this point to where I'm like, okay, I'm starting to understand, I'm starting to see what people like about DLSS. DLSS 4 is an impressive technology. It does do what it's supposed. I think DLSS 4 is the culmination of what it was supposed to be like when it first came out. Like, I feel like this is where the technology is starting to shine. And I've said that multiple times in the videos that I've made referencing DLSS 4, like in Star Wars Outlaws. I get in there and I can see why these technologies are going to not only continue to get better, but they're going to grow. And some of you guys have seen that before I did, okay? I saw stuff that I did that I was like, no, this is not giving me the experience that I think I should be getting. I can, because I would check native resolution in DLSS, and so I was like, no, I like that better. That looks better to me, the thing. But I just was like, every time I would look at DLSS, it would just give me this uncanny valley look to the visuals that I just thought, oh man, like I literally thought DLSS was going to go the opposite way and just start getting worse in terms of making things, stand out even more, like bringing out the flaws even more. So when I saw DLSS 4 for the first time, I was blown away. Like I was taken aback, and I was like, okay, I need to admit where I was wrong, and I need to move forward with this. And I was, and I do, and I still think that DLSS 4 is absolutely incredible. And then I see FSR 4. And my thought for FSR 4, and this is honest, like I thought it was going to come out and look like older DLSS, and it was going to strip out that detail, and I was just going to be like, oh man, and then everybody was going to be raving about FSR 4, and I was going to be over here being a negative Nancy about it. Well, I'm thankful that I don't have to be a negative Nancy about it, because it actually looks just as good, in my opinion. Like I'm unless I stop the camera and really look, I'm not seeing a big enough difference at all to where, oh my gosh, FSR4 or DLSS 4 is significantly better. It might be slightly better if you do like a super close-up analysis like, Digital Foundry has done. It might be better, slightly better. You might be able to perceive something slightly better, but in my opinion, in my eyes, and the way I perceive and play games, I don't notice a big enough difference. I don't think either one of them are better than the other. I think they are both I think it's from a normal viewing distance, and I'm talking abnormal viewing distance, I don't really see much of a difference. Are they good enough though? Are they good enough to replace native resolution? Well, I think we are closer than we've ever been. I still think that if you're on like 1440p or lower, you should still 100% demand that whatever GPU you're paying money for should be able to hit minimum 60 frames a second with all the settings turned on. Minimum. That should be something that we should stand firm on as gamers and be like, look, the 4K thing I understand. It takes 4 times the pixels of 1080p to be able to produce that image. That is expensive. And to get the silicon and everything to be able to mass brute force that, okay, I understand if we don't want PCs as big as freaking, if we don't want our PCIe boards as big as they are for motherboards, then okay, maybe it's time to like, look for other options to get us to where we need to be. But when it comes to just 1440p, no, I think we're firmly, I think we have hit the threshold. I think that there should be zero regression for what we already have. We should only see, a regression, or we should only be able to see more performance when it comes to 1440p, period. That's just non-negotiable for me as a PC gamer to give up any ground at 1440p, period. I think the base cards coming out should be able to do and deliver a minimum of 60 frames a second at 1440p, period. Like that's a no-brainer. That should be the standard that we all live by. Now, how much should we as PC gamers be willing to pay going forward? Because most of the technological advances for 4K are going to be software based, period. And we've all seen DLSS 4 now, we've all seen FSR4. We all know what they can do, and we all know that they can get us to where we want to be without a major perceivable difference like we had been having up till now with the different upscalers, FSR3, DLSS 3, XESS, all of that stuff. Like, we're to a point now where I do think that upscalers have met a certain threshold of quality to where we can look at that and be like, okay, this delivers a 4K experience, but at what cost? At what cost? Now, I know that there's new technologies like frame generation and stuff like that, and I don't know where anybody stands on that type of technology. I know that me personally, I do like it better on the AMD side. I do like FSR's frame interpolation frame smoothing a lot more than I like the NVIDIA. And I did, in all fairness, I have been playing around with the NVIDIA yesterday. I was testing out stuff like that, like the smooth motion and things like that. And I was just like, man, I don't like this. I don't know I don't know what it is. Maybe it was just the games I was trying it in, but I wasn't feeling it. Whereas in those same games on the AMD side, using AMD's Fluid Motion Frames 2.1, much better experience, a lot smoother, felt a lot more natural, and it just felt better. And I still stand on, yeah, you should probably only use a controller with frame generation. This is not a technology that's going to do you any good in competitive games or with a mouse and keyboard. Like, it is just not there yet. So I don't know if I'm at a point where I can say, yeah, let's count frame generation as a viable option for them to be able to increase costs for us. Because the way I see it is they're not really, there's not much more they can do physically to increase the value of these GPUs. And that's the way I'm looking at it. It's like, there's not much more they can do. I mean, I just saw something today that Asus is raising their prices again on their 5090s and their 9070s. And I'm like, why? Why? I don't get that. Like, why do they feel like they deserve $1,500 more than NVIDIA's MSRP for a 5090 Founders Edition? And why do they need more money for an AMD 9070 XT? Why is it $799? What value are we getting for that? Like, there's the physical build is way cheaper than any of that. I mean, is it something that Asus and all these other board manufacturers have raised the price to mitigate the warranty claims for the 12 volt, you know, power cable thing? I don't know. I just do not think, and this is why I will never, ever, ever, ever buy a 90 class card from NVIDIA. This is why. Like, I look at it and I'm like, no, that is not worth it. I know myself. I know that I would buy those products and then I would find things like I do normally with all the other NVIDIA cards that I've bought. And that kind of stuff would start to like chip away at my mindset of perceived value and perceived product. It just would. So why do that? Why put myself, once you go to the top, and I've said this before, once you go to the top, it's really hard to come back down. And so once you're there, and if that experience doesn't absolutely blow you away and you start to let those little things kind of chip away at you, because that's my personality. I would let that little stuff chip away at me and it would start to negate the value of that product that I just bought. And that would suck. And then that would drastically alter my mindset when it comes to that would drastically alter my mindset when it comes to PC gaming. So that's why I just would never do that. I don't think the cost is there. Now, you look at the cost of AMD's 9070 XT. Okay, the MSRP is supposed to be $600, and then you look at 5070 Ti. Those two cards I feel like these two cards are more than enough for most gamers. I do. Obviously, you're going to have your other people out there willing to spend more for 5080, 5090, but for the rest of us down that want to have a decent GPU, but we also don't want to spend way too much money for it, I feel like 5070 Ti and 9070 XT are more than enough. They're more than capable cards. I've been playing around with both of these cards. I absolutely love both of them. I think they're both incredible. They really do just give me that level of performance above and beyond the console experience that I feel good about that. And I feel pretty good about the prices. I do feel like maybe the 90 or the 5070 Ti at $900 to $1,000 is a little bit, you know, I don't necessarily think it's way too overpriced, and I don't think it's underpriced. I think that if it was a little bit closer to the 750-ish range, you know, like maybe $850, I think that would be a much easier recommend for people to buy it. But I don't feel like even at $1,000 with a 5070 Ti, you're gonna walk away feeling like, oh man, I got ripped off. I feel like you'd be at a point where like the gaming experience is good enough, and the feature set with DLSS 4 and frame generation and all of that stuff. This is just me. This is my thinking. I feel like you would feel like it. I guess let's be real. It would depend on the board partner AIB card that you got. If you got some shaved down, barely freaking functioning, you know, just looks. I think maybe you would kind of question that money, but if you got like one of the top end ones and it just looked incredible and the aesthetic of the card looked great and you could be proud of that and it looked good in your case and all of that stuff, I think that you would probably potentially be. I found out what this was. It's both my OLEDs automatically time themselves out no matter what. So. And now they're in sync with each other, so it's kind of crazy. But I think that as long as you buy the GPU that you want, that looks good, it's aesthetically pleasing, that's got good overclocking capacity, whatever. I mean, it just feels robust and beefy and it feels premium. I don't think that the $1,000 price point would be too egregious, because I feel like these cards are going to last you a little while. I mean, I look back across the 6000 series, 7000 series, obviously the 9070, and like most of them have like, there's like parity in the performance, you know, from across those three generations. And then you look at NVIDIA and you see that like the only movement forward was the 5080 and 5090. And you just kind of look at that and it's just like, yeah, dude, these cards are going to be fine for a while. And you just have to. Obviously, the next generation, we're going to see a bigger technological advance. So if you're just get what you can get now and enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy that experience because the next generation will be your bigger uplifts for both RDNA and for GeForce. That's my honest opinion on it. But as for prices for the 9070 XT, I feel I stand pretty much at the same point. The most expensive one, I think, is like $850, and the robustness of that magnetic air, and having the ability to take those fans in and out, to clean it out and stuff like that. Like, I like that build. I like that build quality. I like the aesthetic of it. I think that being the most egregious one in terms of pricing, I don't necessarily think it's too outrageous. You get a good experience. To be completely honest with you, playing with both of these cards side by side, it's not a big enough difference to where the NVIDIA card should 100% be able to command that price, but AMD shouldn't be able to ask for $150 less. I think they're both on par. So at that same reasoning, I don't think 850 is too much, but I've seen other board partners at 750, 720, all the way back down and up across that range. So I feel like we're pretty decent, price wise for the most part. Now, like I said, and like I've been saying, just get the card that is going to make you the happiest. You have to love it physically and visually. Like, you have to be able to look at it and be like, oh yeah, I like that card. That thing stands out to me. I like the aesthetics. It makes my case look good. It has to fit your build. Like, it has to fit your personality, and it has to 100% wow you for you to be able to like let go of that extra money. Because let's just face it, these AIBs are charging a bit too much for these ridiculous coolers. To be completely honest, I mean, it is. I don't think the material build wise is there, but you are paying for a name. You're paying for, yeah. Welcome to the world of consumerism. You're literally paying for a name, and it is what it is. It is what it is. So find the one that gives you the best overall outcome and what you're feeling, and then like the future of gaming, guys. I think that in terms of like these features, making closing the gap and giving us the value that we need for them. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with DLSS 4 and FSR4. I am. I find them to be quite impressive, and in terms of like going forward for 4K displays and stuff like that. I think that's the most realistic way to get there without having to try to spend significantly more money for like a 5080 or 5090. I feel like 9070 XT and 5070 Ti should be able to deliver that. Especially if you're in single player games, whatever. Turn on your frame generator, turn on your FSR, turn on your DLSS. Enjoy your game. Just try to enjoy your game the best way you can. In terms of like 4K and stuff like that, I still kind of feel like a monitor, like a good monitor upgrade might be a better way to justify spending that money, because that 4K monitor, absolutely incredible, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, I think we're at a good place PC wise. I think that, yeah, getting one of these cards is going to be half the battle. So be careful, don't overpay for something. Especially something that you don't want. But yeah, guys, I'm feeling pretty good about this generation. I feel like these cards are good. I feel like they're well built. I feel like in terms of like visual quality and performance and all of that stuff, both of them easily can meet or exceed what I would get on a console. And both of them are actually really delivering a really good experience for me, that I'm happy with, that I'm proud of, that I was, able to give up my 7900 XTX to someone in need, and dang it, I don't feel negative about it. I don't regret that decision at all. I feel pretty dang good about this generation going forward, and I'm just looking forward to the games, guys. Assassin's Creed's coming out here soon. I still want to go back, and I've got a whole bunch of games already that I want to just start playing and making some content for you guys. So yeah, this is awesome. We're gonna start cranking things up content-wise. It's just this was a busy weekend, and I kind of got sidetracked yesterday with that nonsense. So hopefully we can just get on track. I've kind of just muted everybody that's part of that little ring, so that because it's just too distracting for me. It is. It's too distracting for me. I just need to move forward and create what I want to create. And yeah, I don't know. So well, thanks for coming to this Thinking Out Loud with Froggy. I hope you guys really enjoyed this one, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Captain Radeon, Froggy out.